Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development Program, and in particular the AWD 1111.NET Framework with Web Databases class for the fall 2019 semester, I'm creating a series of video presentations based on the book that will be used for that class, the book being Pro ASP.NET MVC 5, and APRES text written by Adam Freeman. I left off, I'm in Chapter 20, about halfway through, and I left off on adding dynamic content to a Razor view. Now, two things quickly. First, as mentioned, I am putting this out here, putting myself out here because I'm making nothing but quite a few mistakes, but I'm not planning on going over this in the actual class. We'll see if that may change. So, and the other thing is, again, hopefully when we go over this, or if we go over this as a class, I won't have so many errors. I probably should have made this a separate project as the author did. All right? The whole purpose of views is to allow you to render parts of your domain model as a user interface. That's pretty much what a view is. To do that, you need to be able to add dynamic content to views. Dynamic content is content that is generated at runtime. So as mentioned there, every time you put in a request, it can be different. It could be something as simple as showing you the time. And if I put in a request now, and then I put in another one now, the time will have changed. All right? This is as opposed to static content, which is basically just straight HTML. You can add dynamic content to views in different ways, and there's shown here. Inline code, as it says, it's good and used for small self-contained pieces of logic like ifs and for each. HTML helper methods, which we're going to discuss in chapters 21, 22, and 23. They're used to generate single HTML elements or small collections of them, typically based on view model or view data values. Sections, used for creating sections of content. Partial views for subsections of view markup between views, and child actions. As it says, used for creating reusable UI controls or widgets that contain business logic. All right. So I have no idea if I go back in here and change this, if I'm going to make it better or if I'm going to make it worse. But regardless, we go in here and we change our index.cs HTML file. All right, accordingly, so it looks like that which is shown on the middle of page 574. Notice we now have a section header in here, and we have a section footer in here. All right. Sections are defined using the Razor @section tag followed by the name of the section. To demonstrate how this, the author says, the content of a section contains the usual mix of HTML markup and Razor tags. Sections are defined in the view but applied in a layout with the @renderSection helper method. To demonstrate how this works, the author has created on the bottom of page 574 and going on to page 575 a views shared _ layout.cs HTML file, and actually there is one there. All right, but we're going to grab what's shown here instead. The key takeaway here, the key thing to note is we have been said in the past render body, but now we're rendering a header section, then the body, then a footer section. When Razor parses the layout, the render section Helper method is replaced with the contents of the section in the view with a specified name. The parts of the view not contained within a section are then inserted into the render body helper. You can see the effect by starting the app. The author says that he's added some CSS styles. All right, but there you see it. Again, I have absolutely no idea if this is going to work or not. So, save. Let's go to our index, view it in the browser. Yeah. And to be honest with you, pretty ugly. Notice the author says here, mixing the sections in with the rest of the view is unusual. The convention is to define the sections at either the start or the end of the view to make it easier to see what goes with what. All right. Another approach the author tends to use is to define the view solely in terms of sections, including one for the body. So you can see how that's changed here. All right. I mean, we can do that. I don't know if that's going to bias anything, whoops, one way or the other. The one thing that this does, as the author mentions on the top of page 577, it makes for clearer views and reduces the chance of putting something in the wrong section. All right. To use this approach, we have to replace the call to render body with a render section body. So, section header, section footer. I think I changed the wrong file, to be honest with you. I think I went in here and changed this. That's where that should have been. There. And that render body. So let's make sure these are correct. Okay? So our layout is shown here, figure 2019. So grab all that, copy it to the clipboard, and there that is. That's the key takeaway, is right there. All right, but we've got to come back up here and in our index.cs HTML file, make sure that that is now correct. And that may have been correct already, but I'm just trying to be complete here. Oops. There we go. So let's do a file, save all, just to make sure we didn't break anything. And let's run this again. Alright, should look the same way that it did previously, and it does. But again, now the body is in its own section, so that's the key difference there. All right, you can check to see if a view has defined a specific section for a layout. This is a useful way to provide default content. We have modified again the layout to check to see if there is a footer in there. So if we have defined a footer, we put it right here. All right, I think we're at 10 minutes. It's a little bit early, but rather than rendering the optional sections, I'm going to stop right now, and I'll pick it up in the next lesson.